This is the plaintiff, Robert DiPolito. He says the defendant still owes him money for a concrete job he was hired for, and that sneaky guy refuses to pay up. The work was top-notch. It was completed on time, and the defendant's stiffing him on the last $1,000 he owes. He's not about to let anyone get away without paying him in full for his hard work, and is suing the defendant here and now for the money he's most rightfully owed. This is the defendant, Eric. He says the plaintiff told him the job would cost $5,500, and once the job was completed, the plaintiff claimed the price was $6,500, $1,000 more than their agreement. Now he's saying he was underpaid by $1,000. The man must be crazy. He's positive he doesn't owe him any more money, and now it's up to the judge to settle. He's accused of underpaying.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant owes him money for a concrete job he did, but the defendant says plaintiff underhandedly upped the price. It's the case of I want a C note for the cement.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome in.
Robert DiPolito?
Yes.
You are suing Eric. You've asked to be mentioned only by your first name, and we'll respect that, for $1,000 that you say you are still owed on a contract.
Yes.
Okay, tell me how you two know each other.
Well, I met him through his brother was doing plumbing work on another job I was doing.
And what kind of work do you do?
Excavating and masonry work.
And masonry work.
Yes.
Okay. So what were you hired to do by Eric?
We were supposed to dig out for a handicap ramp.
Okay. So do you have a contract with him?
Just a verbal contract is all it was, because at the time we were kind of busy at the time. And like I said, I knew his brother. So we just kind of made a deal, and I went over and did the job.
Right. And you figured it would take up less time to not have a written contract?
No.
How'd that work out for you? Because I can't help but notice you're here today.
That's why we're here, because now we got the dispute.
Okay. So according to you, you were supposed to get paid how much?
$6,500.
Okay. And how did the job go?
The job went fairly well. It was a little slow. I had a breakdown of the machine at one time. But we got it done. He said he needed it done by a certain date, which we had it done by that date.
Okay. And then what happens? What's the first thing that goes wrong?
He said that when he owed me $2,500, and when they paid him, they cut his last check that he would pay me.
Okay.
So
that's not uncommon in the industry, right?
No.
Okay. So then what happened?
We waited.
Wait, when you said to him you owe me $25, how much had he paid you so far?
He had paid me $4,500. No, $4,000.
$4,000. Okay, so then you said to him at the end, you owe me $2,500.
Yes.
And then when they cut his check, what happened?
He came and paid me, but he gave me $1,500 instead of
And what did he say
$2,500.
for why he was paying you $1,500?
He said that's what the deal was.
That the deal was only $5,500.
Yes.
And not $6,500.
Right.
Okay, let me hear from you.
Bob had the plans for at least a week before he even got back to me with a price. The project had already commenced by the time he got back to me with a price. By the time he got started,
What was the price he came back to you with?
he came back to me with $5,500. It was on the phone. I thought I had it left on a message, but I didn't. He's asking for $6,500 because his machine broke down twice on the job, and he had to get it repaired, and his machine sat on the job so long that I got letters saying that the machine had to leave the property and that the job was taking too long. And that they
So
were
you feel
actually,
he's trying to snake another $1,000 to
I think
compensate
he's trying
for
to
the
make
repair?
up for his loss on his part.
Okay, I got an idea. Why don't we just look at the contract? Oh, there isn't one. Okay, so a verbal contract is just as binding as a written contract. The problem with a verbal contract is that I now am being presented with two completely different versions of what the contract was. Now, does anyone have text messages, emails, anything?
I have my son was in the truck with me when I had got a hold of him with the price of the job.
Okay,
So
let's hear from your son.
what I told him.
Come on up. Hello.
Hello, Your Honor.
Okay, you look just like him, but bigger. All right, so talk to me. What have you got to elucidate me on?
Yes, I was in the truck with my father when he was speaking to Eric on the phone, and I clearly heard my dad say $6,500, and that's basically it.
Okay, thank you. Who's the other gentleman?
That's Gerald.
Come on up,
He's an
Gerald.
employee of mine.
What did you hear?
I was getting the concrete truck off the property, and they were standing there talking about it was the end of the job. So Bob had said, "You still owe me $2,500," and he said, "As soon as my check comes from these people, then I'll pay you, and we'll be
How
done."
do you remember stuff like that, though? Because it doesn't really affect you. So how do you remember the price?
I've been working with Bob for so long. I remember everything.
Really? I could remember
yeah.
everything all the time?
Pretty much.
Wow. That's special. How old are you?
37.
Did I remember everything all the time when I was 37? I don't know. Didn't we know each other then? No, not then.
Well,
I can say we did, but we didn't. Okay.
My contract for the entire job was for $16,750.
But there was a bunch of other stuff.
There was handrail,
Yeah.
there was a deck, there's the largest portion of the ramp was wood.
What was the work you did?
We dug the ramp out. We dug
What-
down the
that you
ground
dug
5
how
foot,
deep?
About 5 or 6 feet in the ground.
With what kind of equipment?
Mini excavator.
Okay.
How
How big was that hole?
I think it was 20 by 6 feet wide, 20
Okay.
feet long, 20-some feet long.
All right, go on.
And then we put forms up.
What's
concrete
forms?
forms to pour the concrete.
And then what do? Do you have to pull those out or those stay there?
No, you take them out when the concrete dries.
Okay.
Take them out, and then we backfill, fill in the inside.
Wait. What's backfill?
Put the dirt back around the outside.
Okay.
And on the inside, we filled it with rock,
Okay.
so you can pour the concrete slab for the ramp.
Okay.
And then we blacktop patched the blacktop where we dug out for the hole where the driveway was.
Okay.
We blacktopped that, and then that was it.
Okay. Do you have pictures?
No, I have no pictures. I have.
What kind of
I have-
contract? Okay. Wait.
So what is it about people that they don't get contracts in everyday life?
I think it's honestly just in today's society a lack of commitment. They're scared to make a commitment, but like, why not make a commitment?
A lack of commitment? I weirdly agree with you. Huh. Going inside the courtroom.
Guys, listen. If you're in this business, take pictures of things, not just at the end, but along the way. Do you have a telephone?
Yes.
Does your telephone take pictures?
Yes.
It's not just for nasty pictures. It's also for evidence.
Right.
In every job that you're at, every contractor within the sound of my voice should be taking a picture every day as the progress goes and at the end to show your job. Jeez. You're not suggesting that there's any problem with the ramp, right?
I have a picture of the blacktop after it sank that I repaired.
Was a blacktop part of his job?
Yes.
Let me see that.
We had offered
Wash
to
my
put
hands.
that back in there again. He said he would take care of it. We did. We were up there twice.
I
to do
did
it.
say I would take care of it, and I did.
Okay. Okay, so it's like right there?
Right,
That it sunk a
all
little?
pretty much all the
Okay.
way around the whole.
Well, I'm
thing.
only seeing it. I'm seeing it right there, but either way. So, what did you have to do? Re-blacktop it?
I had to. I picked up some cold patch, 4 or 5 bags of cold patch concrete, and packed that in there against the ramp and the driveway there.
Why were you taking care of it?
Figured no big deal.
Okay, then it's no big deal for you. It's no big deal for me. All right. Here's what happens when two people have a dispute about what the agreement was. First, I have to try to figure out if I can come up with my own conclusion of what I believe the agreement was. And that's when I would take into account, his parade of witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
I am very mindful that that's his employee and his son. Okay. So the second way to analyze this as a judge is to listen to the amount of work that was involved and decide if you two didn't have a meeting of the minds of what the price was, and that means you legitimately think it's 55 and he legitimately thinks it's 65, and there was just some misunderstanding. The other way to rule on a case like this is to listen to the work involved and decide whether it was worth 65 or 55. And based on what I heard, I am going to order the defendant to pay the plaintiff the remaining $1,000. That is my verdict. Good luck, folks.
So the plaintiff prevails. The defendant, Eric, is on his way out of the courtroom, so you've got to pay the $1,000. How do you feel about that?
I don't agree with it, but I can't change their minds. It's done with.
What have you learned from this whole experience?
Contracts from now on.
No kidding.
No kidding.
You learned a lot today.
Sure did. Lesson learned.
Congratulations. Officer McIntosh has some documents for you to sign. Mr. DiPolito is on his way out of the courtroom.
How you doing?
Well, I gather you think it was worth coming to court over this, right?
Yeah, I figured we'd just come and tell what we had to tell.
I'm busting to ask you a question. Step over here for a second. Did this hurt when they did that?
Oh, yes. It was well worth it.
Well worth it?
Yes.
Even all the pain?
Yes.
Well, good luck. You can't hide it.
No.
Everywhere you go, it's
That's
visible.
why it's there.
How about that? Okay. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations, gentlemen. Harvey?
I actually think this guy is right, that people don't like committing to responsibility, and that's why they don't have contracts. But I'm telling you, in day-to-day life, especially if you're making a deal for professional services, you are insane not to have a contract.